Hello, listeners. This is the Dream Stream of Consciousness, and I am Yiskah Cook.
And I'm Ellen Ronas.
Nice to see everyone back. So I had a dream, and usually, when I have a dream, because I don't always remember, as many people don't, I start working on it. Start working on it in bed, and then I'm like, I'm already thinking about it. This
Mhm.
isn't one that I was working while in the dream because that's happened as well. But
Mm,
this is one that I've been working since I woke up from
mhm.
the dream.
Okay.
So
So
I'll
I have a
share.
question though about what you just said. When you said working in the dream, what's the term for that? When you're in the dream,
Well, lucidity, but
lucidity, is it like that? Like where you're
uh,
actually directing how the
it
dream is
it
going?
probably is with the definition of lucidity, but
Mhm.
it's not like, oh, I'm lucid. I think do
Right.
A, B, C, or D and fly.
Like so you're not necessarily directing yourself in the dream. Like some people say,
No,
I've never had a dream like
I'm
that
more
before.
like already doing the dream work. And that's one of the
Okay.
that's
Cool.
one of the
That's interesting.
problems
That's
about
really
being dream worker. Like already I'm like write it down in the dream. I'm writing it down and then I'm starting to work on the dream. This is not one of those dreams.
okay. All right.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So this is last night. Hot off the presses.
Mhm.
I'm with my family, a family of people. I have a younger sibling, and I have a sense that it's like a boy playing a girl. So there's some like Greek theater or something like that happening.
Okay.
Uh, and I needed to walk somewhere, but I didn't have my shoes. I couldn't find my shoes. And Debbie was going to walk with me, but she also didn't have her shoes. And I believe we had been driving, and now I'm walking over painful gravel. I think we are migrants because there is a fear of deportation. I think we were at my childhood home at True Robin Hill.
It's funny. Before you said you think you're migrant workers, I had some kind of a premonition about that. Like
Oh,
I was envisioning a really old, like almost like in Cuba or something, or
yes.
like Barbados. I don't know, some
Yeah,
kind of
no,
old,
yeah,
but
exactly.
poor place.
We're in the truck, but then we're in my childhood home. And
Mhm.
that just also brings me back to many associations that I might have with that.
Okay. So do you have a title? Do the title?
Um, Migrant family
Okay. All right. So that's always important, I think, what title we come up with.
kind of points you in the right direction.
Yeah, it kind of is like, if you just have that immediate, whatever the title is, it just comes to you. It's like that's what's seeming important.
I think so
Focus
too.
on. Um, so let's see. And these characters in your dream weren't necessarily your waking family.
They weren't at all my waking family. So much so, in fact, that I felt like there was a part of me that felt like I was acting in a play because, as I said, the person playing my little sister was a boy, but he was
Okay.
just playing her.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that I'm actually in the play. I might be like watching the play
Mhm.
because it feels like a time when women were not actors or actors, like men would play the parts of women.
That's so interesting. Like so out of time.
Yeah.
And Debbie, is that just a random made up person?
It's actually a good friend of mine
Okay.
from since I met her in second grade. And it's interesting because I can't help but think of the saying, walk a mile in his shoes or her shoes, but I couldn't find my shoes and she couldn't find her shoes. And we live very different lives, only only financially, but probably a lot more than that, you know. So so there was something there like connected. We have to try to just like walk a mile in each other's shoes, but we can't find our shoes. And oh, it's almost reminding me of the dream where you lost your boots. Do you remember that?
Not really, but I know I've had a lot of dreams of shoes.
Yeah,
So,
this was one of them.
okay, that was one of the I lost my boots. I don't remember that. But what I'm thinking of is
Yeah,
is that it's like with no shoes, you level the playing field,
yeah,
right? It's like whatever the differences
interesting.
are, you're now both barefoot. You're both like on the earth and the
No,
ground.
nobody's elevated.
Right. There's no different kinds of shoes or different, way of
Yes,
walking in the shoe, whatever, how different shoes make you feel different. It's just like
yeah,
you're both on the earth doing
yes.
whatever that is, moving in that way.
And like having to, like I always think to myself if I'm walking over kind of sharp gravel, I'm just like, okay, I'm just getting a little acupressure. I try to make it good for me. But there's a little bit of like it's really difficult to walk. Like it's harder for me in the stream to just turn off the feeling of how
Mhm.
much it hurt, you know? And
Mhm.
so usually I can do that. I can just flip a switch and
Yeah.
this I didn't feel like a person who walked around all summer barefoot.
Mhm.
And I guess that's the sad thing.
I was gonna say, how did that feel? How did that feel to be unable to do what you normally do, to flip the switch to make it like a silver lining kind of thing?
Oh, good question. Um, well, I'm not sure. How did it feel? I mean, I wanted to walk, and there was a reason I couldn't
Hmm.
because of the shoes. And my friends similarly wanted to walk. Um, I guess it felt a little unknowing. I want to say opaque instead of clear, but that's not the right metaphor. But it just felt a little like maybe I don't know what it's like to walk a mile in her shoes. And she doesn't know what it's like to walk a mile in my shoes. And
Yeah.
that came really strongly to me.
Yeah, it almost feels like when you say that, like in that moment, almost like you were feeling what it would feel like to be her, like not unable to maybe
Oh,
turn something around or make it
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I and well, let me just see the dream again because I feel like we're not talking about an
What
important
about the
piece.
car? Is there something important about the car?
Well, that just made me think of my big road trip this spring. I went for like 3.5 weeks. We drove to the West Coast. I saw the sunset over the Pacific. I saw the redwoods again. And I think I've talked about this. I hadn't done that in 30 years.
Mhm.
So that made me think of part of the journey as well. Like we're
Mhm.
in a car and then but the ground is unforgiving.
Mhm.
So what could that mean?
The ground. This is the ground that you're walking on. It feels unforgiving.
Hmm?
Hmm.
It's like
Hmm.
we're in a truck, we stop, get out of the car, but I'm not able to take a couple of steps because it's so
Well,
pointy.
you don't have shoes, and B,
Right.
like rocks that are hurting your feet, kind of.
Sure. Sure.
Unforgiving, though, that's a really powerful word. Un-
Unforgiving.
yeah,
Wow, it really is. It
ground
really
and
we use it so nonchalantly.
Yeah, unforgiving. That's
The
quite.
ground was unforgiving. But
Yeah. And
I
what?
mean,
Yeah, can you riff on that? Like just
yeah,
like
what if ground is
association. What does that mean? Like,
what does that mean? If
what is
ground
unforgiving? Just the word unforgiving.
unforgiving, oh, ooh, like closed tight, like where's the opening,
Yeah,
and uh,
a room for anything new.
yeah, where's something room for something new.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, uh, well, I can riff on it too. The unforgiving ground, the earth, like maybe there is a soulful part of Gaia who who needs to open to be able to forgive, or
Mm,
maybe I need to be able to forgive my fellow humans for
mm,
being so destructive towards
mm,
Gaia.
mhm, mhm,
That
mhm,
feels more right.
mm. That's an interesting juxtaposition of that, and then the sort of old-fashioned theatrical family and
Yes.
girl that's a boy or boy that's a girl, playing the opposite role. I think
Yeah.
it's an interesting juxtaposition of things. Maybe I mean if we're sort of riffing on the like earth aspect, the unforgiving ground,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then I might think of that as just an earlier time when things were different with with all of the, ecological
Yes.
earth
Yes.
things. And
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not having like a really strong like wow, aha,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying to make the connections. Yeah, I mean, what do you have any thought?
Oh,
Uh,
I do have a thought
yeah.
that maybe, there is a political administration that is unforgiving to migrants and will just ship them back,
Uh-huh.
almost, not even allowing a plea to come legally into the country. And that's been on my mind and heart as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while, definitely the things that happen in the outside world can definitely influence our dreams and even how we feel about those things,
Yes.
still think there's always something a little deeper. There's always something more personal, more
Sure.
archetypical, in us
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
does that get personalized into our own soul and psyche? And I don't have
Yeah.
answers. I'm just like asking that question because, yeah, I can see that's a thing, it's a political thing. It's something
Yeah.
in the world that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Right. So, so likely some gay residue
mhm,
entered into the dream because
yeah,
I had been thinking of politics
yeah.
in the past few days.
But I
And
am, go ahead.
I guess I'm just wanting to talk about we're all fearing deportation. And I just want to explore what that would mean
Hmm.
to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because I'm not a Latina woman.
Hmm.
I I was born in the US, you know, but I to really put myself in like a country that you know your whole life there and all your, you know, neighbors and friends and then to be deported to a country that you don't
Hmm.
know as home.
Hmm.
I think that's very it's a very heavy thing that I personally am not threatened with, but collectively, I feel like it's a threat. Wait, remember Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's that's what I feel.
Yeah. And again, I'm just going to like dig a little deeper. Like, I wonder
Yeah,
where in your own personal psyche, like, where is that? Like, to me, I feel that is like almost a fear in my estimation, in my dream of your dream, so to speak.
yeah,
Uh, like, I'm feeling that as a personal threat somehow. Not that I feel like I'm going to get deported physically,
right.
right?
Yeah,
I'm also American and etc. But
yes.
that what part of me is going to be left behind? What part of me is going to feel lonely, isolated, left? Whether
Mm,
other people are leaving and I'm left behind, or I'm leaving and then I'm by myself in this scary place that I don't know.
yeah.
There is
Oh,
there
yes.
is I really personally relate to that in a way. Like, there's so
I
much
do too.
going on in the world right now. We don't know what's happening. We don't know, this political shenanigan is just beyond, it's beyond anything we know. And so there's so much unknown. And I think there's a lot of anxiety and fear about what will happen.
Mm.
People are talking about, oh, if Trump gets elected, I'm going to move. And it's like, wait, don't move. You're my friend.
I've been saying that since W. Bush,
I know,
we
me
were
too.
going to be expats
Yeah.
during, when he started the Iraq War.
I know, me too, but like, I don't think I ever
But
really
if
knew
you,
it.
I meant it. But then I met Lance and he was like, yeah, I feel like my work is to stay here. He was like an American historian. So changed
Yeah.
my tune.
Yeah, yeah, right. Running away from it, or trying to like stick with each other and, do the thing together to sort of
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
through it and
Yeah.
recreate something different. I don't know, like, running away isn't necessarily, I mean, I get it. I have that instinct too. Um,
Right.
so, um, anyway, that's, but, and I'm also really just curious, just getting back to the dream, about the feeling about it being not the act, like actors, like
Yes.
you were in a you were in a play, which reminds me of a dream that I had recently about something about I was in a play, but I didn't know what the play was or what my part was. I
We
couldn't.
we did that one last dream
Yeah,
stream. It's
yeah,
it's a great
yeah.
one. Well,
So I
yeah,
don't know what
it
that means.
so I guess maybe to me that was like, well, this is not personally a problem,
Mhm.
but I can empathetically see and feel the fear or
You're putting
uh
yourself in their situation in a way.
yeah. So, but I was not one of the actors, but I was related. Wasn't I? Maybe I was on the stage. Yeah, because I think I was on the stage because I was related to the kids on the stage. There was like teenager and then the boy playing the girl. We were a family. So well, who would that make me? I mean, I don't feel like a mother, but maybe a sister.
Mhm.
I'm not sure.
Like a matriarch somehow of the family. Were
Um,
you in a position of kind of holding them together? I don't
no,
know.
I felt one
Hmm.
of the members of this family.
One of, but you felt like yourself, but everyone else felt like they were actors on a stage kind of thing, playing the roles of your family.
Not even my family,
Just a
a,
family.
a family
Mhm.
that I was a part of.
Hmm. Community is family. Just riffing. uh,
Yeah,
um,
yes,
People acting as if, acting like, taking the place of family, community.
yeah.
Like, maybe it doesn't have to be the actual family. It can just be people
Representative
represent,
of family.
that what feels like family. Of course, this is
Yeah,
clearly my projection because, I have all this
sure,
community,
sure. Uh-huh.
lines and such.
We dream for each other.
Yes.
So, well,
Yeah.
I feel like that to me feels like an opening dream on a topic, and then I'm gonna hope to dream on that some more.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for now, I feel pretty good leaving it here.
Right.
because I really want to get to your
Oh,
dream,
okay.
Ellen.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess I would just say maybe like just to finish my thought on your dream is
Yeah.
to maybe ask some specific questions about the dream. Like
Okay.
whatever it is for you that feels important. Who were these people? Why are they actors? What, or whatever,
Right.
just specific so that you can maybe get more specific answers.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Good advice.
So those of you who've been with us for a while, I have had like a million dreams about clothes and shoes. And like I can't figure out what clothes to wear, or there's somebody else's clothes and I'm trying things on and they don't fit, or they're like totally not me, but they're cute, or whatever. It's like the endless amounts of dreams like that. So I had another one, and this one was a very short kind of thing where I'm in kind of a small bedroom and I'm going through this closet of really fancy clothes, but not fancy like as in Chanel or that sort of fancy as in like handmade artistic
Oh,
clothing.
nice.
Like there was this sort of net, looked like a net, like it was a vest, very long flowing thing, like it was like a
Crocheted.
net, like screen material, like metal.
Ah, okay.
Things woven in and sparkles and appliques and nothing I would ever in a million years wear in real life, but it was beautiful in the dream. But things like that, things that were very creative, like handmade artistic pieces of clothing, and very, very fancy, like you'd wear them to some super fancy event. And my mother was there and she was saying, for goodness sakes, will you just pick one already? Will you just figure out already which one you want to wear? Because there was a stack of them and they were,
Yeah.
on, and I was like, I don't know. These are not me, but they are so beautiful. But I don't, and I don't know what the event was. I don't know where we were going or what we were doing. But, and I don't think that's the first one with my mother in it. I can't quite specifically remember, but I have a feeling there were others with my mother.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the last one.
The last one, yeah.
Mom was there.
Yes, mom
Yeah.
was there. Isn't that that's right? She was. She
Hmm.
was there because I remember you mentioned saying something. We were talking about that, the inner mother or something.
Right. We have to,
Yeah.
take care of our younger self.
Yeah. So the difference in this dream than in the others was it was almost like I felt like I was graduating to the next level of something. Like usually it's like either
Okay.
old clothes that I'm going through, or it's someone else's clothes, or there's a
Yes.
whole mix of a lot of people's clothing that I'm trying on to sort of see. This was like a closet full of these amazing handmade things, and I was to just pick whatever one I want. So somehow it feels like the next level up,
Yeah.
next level fancy or something. I don't know. But that was the
No,
whole.
I'm glad you said that because at first I was remembering the dream where you went next door to a place and then upstairs to a woman's apartment and went into her closet. And she had like what I imagine in my version of the dream, like boas, and really like
Yeah.
stagey, like leotards and that kind of thing. So,
Uh-huh.
but this feels like the next
Yeah,
step.
it feels like they're mine, I guess. Like, or I don't know if they're mine, but
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like there's someone else's clothes. It feels like these are mine to choose from.
Yes.
They don't feel like me at all. They don't feel like,
Right.
so in the dream, I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful, but it's like, but
Ooh, I'm being asked to step outside of my comfort
I
zone.
do. I was just going to say, I think that's really what I really do think that that's what's happening. I think that, and it was, yeah, it was on the, in the middle of a weekend long workshop that I took this past weekend.
Okay.
That was just, it was, I don't even really know how to talk about it because it's one of those things that things happen, but you're not even sure, but you feel like you're being changed from the inside out.
Oh, yes.
It's a movement like five rhythms dance based. It wasn't really five,
Wow.
but it was my five rhythms teacher who I'm very dedicated to that work.
Yes.
The person did this workshop that was called on like dancing on the cusp or something. And so it was like, it was workshoppy. It was like you do
Yeah.
people and It was less about dance and more about moving the body, but in relationship to other people and the elements
Yes.
and all sorts of different things. But I had that dream
Sounds
middle of that workshop.
sounds rejuvenating. Oh, that's significant.
Right. So I kind of think, and that is, yeah, there was that feeling of like, I mean, it's dancing on the cusp. So it's like something is coming, but I don't know what. And so, and I do have the sense that I'm being asked to do something that's been hard for me to do, to
Yes.
step out of the box or step like into the box that is me, that is actually me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, to
That's
step
interesting.
into, a place in me that is for real, but I
Yeah.
haven't given it an opportunity because it's hard or it's scary or it's vulnerable or all those other things, the reasons that we can stop ourselves from doing something maybe a little bit
Yeah.
bigger than we're used to.
Well, I love that. And of course, that, is the metaphor for something larger we may be doing in our life. But I always think clothes is like who am I now? It's like, you know, who am I now? Like, can I wear this gorgeous, in my mind, crocheted or like metal male? And that's interesting too, because if it's metal, it reminds me of male. Like,
Oh yeah. It wasn't
right.
really metal. It was more like a netting
Yeah,
kind of,
okay.
wasn't really
Yeah.
wool or like crochet. It was
Yeah.
what would I call it? Like, is it tulle? Tulle for like that they put
Yeah.
underneath
That's
like a
not,
petticoat,
but,
that sort of netting fabric.
but,
How to,
well, I guess if you really look at it closely,
yeah, it has
right?
open weave, and then there were things woven in those.
Yeah.
It was like that.
That's really nice.
Very cool.
That's so, right. I guess if it's my jam, I would think perhaps there, as you're saying, there is coming a time where I will make a change.
Yeah, yeah, and yes, there's something about the particular flavor of those garments that
Yes.
were very artistic and a little showy, but
Yeah.
bold. I guess I would say bold. Like when you wear a piece like that, it's like wearing
Mm.
a piece. You're wearing a piece of art. You're not just like putting on a t-shirt,
Yes.
or a sweater. It's like you're putting on something that's like you're going to get attention for this. This is like an
Yeah.
expression of something.
Yes.
That's kind of interesting to
If
me.
this is my dream, I feel like I'm going to be asked to do something bold
Yeah.
in the near future.
Yep.
And so I need
That's
to,
kind of what I feel like. And that's kind of how I felt, when I got home from that workshop last night. I was like, yeah, I'm being asked to do the thing that I've dabbled in and put my finger
yes,
in, but it's like you're gonna
yes.
the hard work that it takes to get that thing in the world.
Mhm.
So
I'm so glad you sound inspired.
yeah, yeah. I will say about dance for me,
Hmm.
and this is any form. I mean, I danced a lot of different things. I do five rhythms. I've done authentic movement. I do free form dance. I do swing dance and salsa,
Uh-huh.
and I do all kind. You're gonna dance me into the grave. I am a dancer for life, even if it's just dancing in my kitchen. Like I just realized how much
Yeah,
that brings me.
there's
And
an Amy Winehouse song about that. I'm gonna send it to you.
I will say, I do just want to also say that I know it's obviously not something that everyone can do.
Yeah,
And the most important thing is to express. So for me, like the body,
absolutely.
if things get stuck in my body. So when I can move, it's like, okay, I'm less anxious or whatever. But if you
I
write,
love it. Yeah,
saying,
I wanted to say to you, like the whole time I went on my road trip out west, I said, because I was writing on the phone, but I was also trying to write on a notebook, but it's bumpy, bumpy drive. And but I kept saying, I'm gonna write a ballad of our road trip. And this I was joking with my friend Quinny, this was my mistake, is that I like announced it. So
ah,
then it became something I had to do.
Oh, I hate when that happens. I do that all so much. Totally get that.
and and because I can't decipher my handwriting, because first of all I was writing with my left hand, and then I was writing on a bumpy car, but I also did a lot of typing into my phone, and
Mhm.
I like worked it out, and I sent it off to the people I traveled with as like, you know, the ballad. It wasn't a ballad though. I didn't want to say ballad then, because then I thought you'd have to set it to music. And I
So
don't
a
have,
poem or a piece of writing or something about.
right, right. So I did that today.
That's so great. It's so great to be expressive in whatever way we feel called to do.
Yeah. And so I'd love to share it with you after,
Yes,
if
I
you're
love that. Yes,
okay.
absolutely. And now our listeners are going to be all curious because they
I
want
know they
to.
can ask me. I'm happy to share it. So, and it felt good because, you know, being a poet was like my heart's great love.
You're a wonderful poet. I've heard some of your poetry. Yeah.
Thank you. And I just had this, and then it didn't even feel like an outpouring. I guess it sort of did feel like an outpouring. Oh, okay. It was an outpouring of creativity.
Yeah, it just kind of had to come out.
Yeah. Yay.
Love
So,
that.
so
Yeah.
let's go back to your dream. Is there anything else you would like to know from it?
Hmm. I guess I'm curious about whether or not I'm the one who's supposed to be making those garments, not like necessarily make those
Yeah,
garments,
that's a really good
the
question.
creator, or if I'm just supposed to put that garment on and like step into that role of whatever that makes me feel like creative, powerful, neat, seen, you know. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, just a curiosity of that.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
It could be both, really.
Right. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like just as likely as I myself, I'm the dreamer and the artist, as someone else who does like textile art
Yeah.
or whatever. And and then I do feel like, why would my mother be insistent that I
Why?
take one?
Such a good question. And she was like impatient with me, which she probably you got, she was probably whatever. But I think most people would just kind of lose a little patience with me with my indecision. They're like, just make a decision.
Yes.
Um, so it was a little bit like that. It was a little bit like, and then I of course got anxious because I had to hurry. That's that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
the rush
yeah.
through all the clothing dreams is I have to hurry up,
Yes.
make a decision, and somebody's waiting, or
Often you're shirtless.
have I been shirtless? You remember my.
very, very many times.
God. Well, how do I not remember that? Okay.
Burying your breasts. So, there was one time when you were riding a bicycle
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Oh, that was a
topless.
dream. I remember. It's a crazy dream. Long time ago.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
say right here, see, this is why it's so great to work with a dream buddy. You have
Yeah.
someone that you're sharing dreams with, and we
Yeah.
can
They can sort of
remember.
remember your themes. I have to say, I'm less good at that. Sometimes I can sort of track, but Yiska's really good at that. You
Because
track.
I'm really strive to be like deep listening,
Yeah.
and so like really take it in, not just hear it externally, but like, what could this mean if I were to dream this? And if my own projection, and I think that might be why.
I think that is why. Yeah. I think you're really, really
Not
good.
that you don't do that.
Yeah, but I
I'm
think
not saying you don't do that. I'm just saying obviously our minds work a little differently.
yeah, yeah. Well, you're Pisces and I'm a Gemini.
You're Gemini.
kinds of energy, and it actually makes a lot of sense. I'm like more of a communicator, talker,
Yes.
and Pisceans are kind of more internal and sort of dreamy and poetic and sensitive. Not that I'm not sensitive either, but
Yeah.
it is
No, I
different.
know
It is different.
we are all of it. Did I
Yes.
tell you I had a friend over and I was like, okay, let me guess your sign. I kid you not. I went through 11 of the signs and he wasn't any of them. He was the 12th, which I loved. I love that because, for me, myself, if I ever start to believe that I know anything, like humble thyself,
Right.
and then it wasn't until the 12th and final
That's so funny.
sign that I was like, oh, you're such a Virgo.
She got to it. That's so funny. Virgos can be tricky to with certain things, if
Yeah.
if they're
Well,
very
I think I was seeing all of it. I was seeing he could be very intellectual.
yeah.
He was interested in creativity. He could be, Aries because he makes some mistakes sometimes. It's like just starting out.
That's not an Aries quality necessarily. Is that what you're
It feels to me like he's young
hmm
and,
I mean,
I
Aries
was,
is just very fiery and forward motion and
but I also feel like it's also young.
yeah, yeah,
I do.
yeah.
But what do I know? I couldn't even
I
guess
don't
his
Well, I
sign.
can see why, because it's the first sign of the zodiac. It's the
Yeah,
spring, so
yeah,
there's an
exactly.
impetuousness to it. There's an
There
immediacy,
is.
which can
Absolutely.
be a young quality. That's a good point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So interesting. Yeah, and Virgos are also like Gemini. We're both ruled by Mercury, so that's very communicative and talkative
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
and into the intellect also.
and thinking,
Yeah,
thinking, thinking.
yeah. So
Yeah. So I just got a real kick out of that because I could see, like, oh, he likes to do big artistic, projects. And then I'm like, well, Scorpio, not Scorpio, Sagittarius. Because the two people that I know who are Sagittarius are both amazingly visionary, creative, and
mm,
do big things.
mm,
So,
mm.
and that's women. That's just women. I find that women and men are
Yeah.
can be very different.
Yes, for sure. I
Yeah.
do interesting differences. But yeah, yeah. I don't think. I mean, it's not the Sages aren't creative, but that's I would never. I wouldn't go there. That's so interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, maybe he's a Libra because he's also feels to me really balanced until I realized, oh, he's not balanced. Ugh. And then
Well, Libras aren't necessarily balanced. They're looking for balance through relationship.
the
Just
two guys that I know who are Libra,
a lesson.
one my son and then another a friend of mine's husband, they're both the most chill, patient guys.
Yeah, they like being in relationship. They like being
Yeah,
with a
yes,
person.
it's true.
Are the most balanced when they are,
Yes.
do that. And yeah, I
Yeah.
like Libras. Libras nice qualities. Anyway, I can say so much about that.
So, well, thank you for sharing your dream. And I look forward to any follow-ups from that.
Yes, and thank you for sharing your dream. And I look forward to seeing whether or not you kind of re-enter or
Yeah.
dream the
Yeah, I
next.
feel like I need to do something. I mean,
Yeah.
because if I'm just watching a play,
Hmm.
then perhaps I'm not in it. And I have to make sure that I'm an actress up on that stage.
Right. Well, you said that you yourself weren't an actor, that you were yourself. So that's kind of interesting to me. But
Oh,
were you a witness or were you participating?
I feel like I was doing both. There was part of me looking on as witness and part of me in the play
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
the younger siblings. I think I was the eldest sister.
Mm,
That's like a teenage brother, and then a little sister who was being played by
mhm,
her brother.
mm.
I will just see what comes of that
Yeah,
because I don't feel resolved at all.
yeah, no, and I don't know how helpful I was, but it's very interesting, and yeah, just kind of sleep on it some more.
Always, always helpful. So thank you, listeners, for joining us. And we, oh, I see what I can do here. Sorry, Zoom keeps switching up the way they do things, trying different things and trying a different thing. So, and I only come on here when we do this.
Okay.
So it's good. We're good. So, thank you for joining us. Holamod Metukin.